The prospect of NATO troops in Ukraine, under the pretense of peacekeeping, is once again on the table, but skepticism looms large. Speaking in Pristina on March 11th, NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte acknowledged that discussions on securing Ukraine after a ceasefire are ongoing, with European ground forces being considered as one possibility. However, his tone hinted at hesitation, reflecting NATO's awareness of the risks such a move would entail.
Well, here I would side with President Trump. First of all, I want to really note the fact that thanks to him there has now been a breakthrough when it comes to Ukraine in terms of starting talks with both the Russians and the Ukrainians. That is important. It's good that the French and the Brits have taken initiative, that when a peace deal or a ceasefire would happen in Ukraine, that there will be this issue of security guarantees. One way to do that would be European troops in Ukraine, but there could also be other ways to do this. I think President Trump is right that before you can keep a peace, you first need to have the peace. And the peace is not yet there.
While Rutte acknowledged troop deployment as an option, his mention of other ways suggested NATO remains cautious, mindful of the potential for escalation. Moscow, meanwhile, has made it clear that any foreign military presence in Ukraine, regardless of its designation, would be seen as an act of aggression. Russia's response was swift. Speaking to American bloggers in Moscow on March 12th, Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov dismissed the idea of NATO peacekeepers, questioning both its feasibility and legitimacy.
I am mostly amazed with this peacekeepers obsession. Peacekeepers, let's stop. Macron says, let's stop in 1 month, peacekeepers would be deployed, then we'll see what to do next. It is not what we say is required for the end of this war, which the West waged against us through Ukrainians with their direct participation of their military. We know this. If NATO expansion is recognized, at least by Donald Trump, as one of the root causes, then the presence of the troops from NATO countries under any flag, in any capacity on Ukrainian soil is the same threat.
So you won't accept it under any conditions?
Under any conditions, well, nobody is talking to us.
Lavrov also challenged the West's insistence on deciding Ukraine's future without Russia's input, arguing that Moscow has been deliberately excluded from discussions that directly affect its security interests.
They keep saying nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, but they do everything about Russia without Russia. Planning, Trump, by the way, when asked about peacekeepers, he said, well, it's too early to discuss this, but normally you need the consent of the parties. Why should we give consent to the peacekeeping force or peacekeeping group even, not force, though they want force? From the composed of the countries who declared us an enemy, and they would come as peacekeepers.
This high-stakes standoff comes at a pivotal moment. Ukraine has agreed to a temporary 30-day ceasefire with Russia following Washington's push for an immediate pause in hostilities. On March 11th, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova confirmed that Moscow does not rule out contacts with U.S. representatives within the next few days. Trump, for his part, has indicated he may speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin, expressing hope that negotiations could gain momentum. Yet even as diplomacy takes shape, NATO's deliberations on peacekeepers risk undermining fragile negotiations. For Moscow, any Western military footprint in Ukraine, no matter the justification, remains a red line. If that line is crossed, the situation could spiral into something far more dangerous.